Hello friends, welcome to Human Peritus, your single stop solution for UGC NET Paper 1 preparation. So class, आज का जो हमारा topic of discussion है is a topic known as Indian logic and knowledge, which is a very interesting and newly introduced by UGC NET in the last 4 to 5 years. और इसका जो trend देखा गया है कि इस पे UGC NET एवरी ईयर कुछ ना कुछ ज़रूर स्टूडेंट से पूछता है, बिकॉज ये एक ऐसा टॉपिक है जो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स इसकी डिफ़िकल्टी लेवल देखकर दे ट्राई टू अवॉइड स्टडिंग दीज टॉपिक्स एंड दे ट्राई टू रेजिस्ट देमसेल्फ फॉर गोइंग थ्रू व्हाट द कंटेंट इज ऑल अबाउट. बट आज हमारा जो टॉपिक ऑफ डिस्कशन रहेगा वो है इंडियन लॉजिक के PYQs. क्या क्या हमने देखा है कि इंडियन लॉजिक के अंदर कौन कौन से क्वेश्चंस UGC नेट स्टूडेंट के लिए प्रिपेयर करता है और उनसे पूछता है, और उसकी फैमिलैरिटी, और सो दैट जो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको एक बाउंड्री मिल जाए कि कैसे कैसे क्वेश्चंस एक्सपेक्टेड हो सकते हैं इंडियन लॉजिक की इस टॉपिक में. सो हमारा जो एम है अपने स्टूडेंट्स को ईजिली और प्रिपेयर करवाना ताकि वो उससे पढ़ने में डरे ना. तो चलिए हम देखते हैं. लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दी एन इंट्रोडक्टरी फेज वेयर आई विल टेक यू टू दी लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ आवर चैनल, ऑफ आवर organization, which is Human Peritus. So this topic comes under logical reasoning and it is denoted by the name of Indian logic and knowledge. So अगर हम देखें हमारे इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे हमने अलग अलग जो टॉपिक्स हैं इंडियन लॉजिक के, विच आर न्याय थ्योरी, परसेप्शन, अनुमान, इन सब पे हमने क्लासेस यहाँ पर दिखा रखी हैं. और साथ साथ अब हम चलते हैं कि उसकी बुक जो है, व्हाट ऑल द बुक इज टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑन इंडियन लॉजिक एंड नॉलेज. सो इंडियन लॉजिक के अंदर जो जो कीवर्ड्स इंपॉर्टेंट है या जिसके बेसिस पे PYQs आ रहे हैं वो हम कवर अप करेंगे इस पर्टिकुलर हमारी क्लास के अंदर. सो देखते हैं कि अगर हम देखें राइट साइड में, अगर हम टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स देखें, सो टुडे द इंट्रोडक्टरी पार्ट वुड बी कवरिंग द फर्स्ट 3 पॉइंट्स, ठीक है. और जो रेस्ट ऑफ द टॉपिक्स हैं उसके ऊपर जो क्लासेस हैं या उस पे जो भी क्लासेस इंडियन लॉजिक पे आई हैं वो हमारे प्लेलिस्ट आपके ह्यूमन पेरिटस की प्लेलिस्ट में आपको विजिबल होंगी. और आने वाली क्लासेस जो इंडियन लॉजिक के अदर टॉपिक्स के PYQs हम कवर करेंगे या जो भी लेटेस्ट आ रहा है उसके लिए आपको ह्यूमन पेरिटस के चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना प्लीज़ ना भूलिए. सो देखते हैं हम कि इंट्रोडक्शन के अंदर इफ वी सी इट इज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट द इंडियन फिलोसफिकल सिस्टम, ठीक है, जिसमें हमारा 2 schools of thought हैं, heterodox and orthodox, also known as नास्तिका and आस्तिका respectively. इसमें different schools covered up हो रखे हैं, ठीक है. हेट्रोडॉक्स स्कूल हो गया जिसमें आपके 3 schools आते हैं, चर्वका, जैनिज्म एंड बुद्धिज्म, which are not directly accepting the authorities of Vedas, which we have discussed in our classes of Indian logic, which you can easily get access to those classes by subscribing to the Human Peritus channel and enrolling yourself for the UGC NET preparation. Then हम लोग आते हैं ऑर्थोडॉक्स स्कूल में जिसमें 6 schools of thoughts हम लोग देख रहे हैं, which are न्याय एंड वैशिका, which are considered the allied school of thought. Then आपका संख्या and yoga आ रहा है, that is also allied school of thought, that is based upon similar philosophies. They are having a connection on the basis of similarities of thoughts the scholars are possessing. And the last 2 is the Purvimamsa and Vedanta, that is also the allied school of thought. So आज हमारा जो focus रहेगा वो है न्याय स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन लॉजिक, also known as theory of knowledge. और इसके बहुत अलग अलग टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं जो कि यूज्ड हो रखी हैं. if we see in the next part, सो न्याय स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन लॉजिक को अलग अलग नाम से जाना जाता है। इसमें इस जो इंडियन लॉजिक के जो टॉपिक्स हैं उसमें बहुत सारी ऐसी टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं विच आर when we spell them, although it's written in English, but when we spell them they are pointing towards the Hindi pronunciation. So हिंदी का यहाँ पे इसकी spellings और इसके concepts को go through करने के लिए आपको ये सब खुद पढ़ना पड़ेगा कि क्या क्या चीज़ें इस पे कवर अप होती हैं, बिकॉज मेजरली क्वेश्चंस जो पूछे गए हैं वो उनके बेस्ड जो हिंदी टर्मिनोलॉजीज हैं उसके कंटेक्स्ट में आते हैं यूजीसी नेट के एग्जाम में। ठीक है क्लास, नाउ वी मूव ऑन टू नव्य न्याय जो कि आपका है मॉडर्न स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन लॉजिक। सो न्याय स्कूल ऑफ लॉजिक का पढ़ने का हमारा मेन एम इस वजह से है बिकॉज यही एक ऐसा स्कूल है विच हैज़ बीन कंसिडर्ड एज अ वेरी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड स्कूल एंड उसकी जो कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस हैं एंड जो भी सिस्टम है दैट हैव बीन अडॉप्टेड बाय अदर स्कूल्स ऑफ थॉट विच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अर्लियर in our classes and in this particular class. Then we move on to the न्याय and वैशिका के बारे में यहाँ बताया गया है थोड़ा थोड़ा कि दोनों के बीच में although they are having that similar philosophy but दोनों में क्या similarities हैं, क्या क्या differences हैं that we need to take care of. एंड देन क्योंकि लॉजिक की बात करते करते हमें नॉलेज के बारे में पता चलता है एंड नॉलेज भी दो तरीके की हम कवर अप करेंगे विच इज वैलिड एंड इनवैलिड नॉलेज। वैलिड नॉलेज की हम बात करें तो वो एक तरीके की दैट इज कंसिडर एज दैट नॉलेज विच गिव अस द राइट एप्रीहेंशन ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट वेयर द जनरेटिंग कंडीशंस आर साउंड एंड वी आर गेटिंग अ प्रॉपर नॉलेज एंड प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट एन ऑब्जेक्ट। सो these are the various four factors that form up the part of a knowledge: pramata, prameय, praman and prama. Then हमने देखा कि valid knowledge भी 4 types की हैं which are coming up under valid knowledge. और न्याय स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन लॉजिक में देखा गया है कि they it accept 4 valid means of knowledge which is perception, then आपका आता है inference, अनुमान, then उपमान that is also known as comparison, शब्द that is verbal testimony, और इसके रिलेटेड हम टॉपिक वाइज PYQs कवर अप करेंगे हमारे आने वाली क्लासेस में। ठीक है, और देखा गया है ये जो आप असम दिग्ज यथार्थ अनुभव है that is also a very important aspect of the conditions that points toward the generation of a valid knowledge. देन आपका आ रहा है इनवैलिड नॉलेज भी 4 टाइप्स की हैं दैट इज written over here: memory, doubt, error and hypothetical reasoning that results in the failure of the successful or right apprehension or manifestation of an object. So this is all what is covered in our LMS platform. Now we start with the previous year questions. Now we move on to the previous year questions. So न्याय स्कूल ऑफ लॉजिक के अब हम चलिए आते हैं. लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द PYQs. व्हाट ऑल वुड बी वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम यूजीसी नेट फ्रॉम दिस टॉपिक, और किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस हम कर पाएंगे, कैसे कैसे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, एंड व्हाट शुड बी एन अप्रोच, हमारी क्या अप्रोच होनी चाहिए क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व करते वक्त, वो भी हम इसमें समझ पाएंगे. We will be able to understand it more properly. So let's start with the first question. Which of the following is true regarding classical Indian school of logic? ठीक है, जहाँ पे आपको 5 statements given है. ठीक है, पहली statement है आपकी deductive. ठीक है, डिडक्टिव, इट इज डिडक्टिव. डिडक्टिव का मतलब क्या होता है कि जब हम वी ट्राई टू ड्रॉ स्पेसिफिक कंक्लूजन्स फ्रॉम आवर जनरल प्रिंसिपल्स. लाइक जब हम 3 स्टेटमेंट्स की बात करते हैं जिसमें हमारा मेजर एंड माइनर प्रीमाइस होता है एंड देन हमारा कंक्लूजन होता है. से फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे हमने बोला कि ऑल ह्यूमंस आर मोटल्स. ठीक है, देन हमारी सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट आती है सोक्रेट इज अ ह्यूमन, and therefore from the basis of both these two statements we draw conclusion that Socrates is mortal. So that is an example of deductive statement, and which is true regarding Indian school of Indian logic. Next is the inductive. ठीक है, inductive, what does inductive talks about? Where we try to draw general principles from specific conclusions. ठीक है, and deductive talks about drawing specific conclusions. ठीक है, सो इंडक्टिव के अंदर आपका एग्जाम्पल हम क्या दे सकते हैं? जस्ट व्हाट वी से दैट सनराइज एवरी डे इन द मॉर्निंग. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज अ general principle which we see every day, so it is inductive, which is also true in regard to classical Indian school of Indian logic. C says that it is formal. Formal refers to the arrangement of the propositions or statement in the form of a formal arrangement where there we try to follow a particular pattern that talks about the formal. Yes, which is also true. And D, it is material. Material definitely when we talk about the inferences. ठीक है, जब हम बात करते हैं inferences की, so we always take care of कि whatever information we are sharing in the form of proposition, that should be material. ठीक है, and it should be such that there we should be able to draw genuine knowledge out of it, because Indian school of India जो हमारा Indian school of logic है, it not only focusing on the mere arrangement of word, but it goes beyond creating understanding and relationship among the and real entities, and it is able to provide us a more genuine knowledge. So yes, C is also right and material भी है, but जो हम E point देखते हैं that it always leads from universal to particular only, which this is not correct, because it always talks about particular to particular through universal. This is the correct or true about the classical Indian school of logic. So from the above information or the discussion, we can say that answer A is correct in this case. Why E का कैसा है? E particular to particular through universals का मतलब क्या है? Say for example we say all those who do not eat meat or chicken are vegetarian. This is the first statement. Then we say that Ankit does not eat meat or chicken, and third say therefore Ankit is also a vegetarian. So from particular to particular, पहले हमने एक vegetarian करा, then we move on to certain other particular person which is Ankit over here, and then we it results in the universality of thing that Ankit is also a vegetarian. That is a universal concept कि those who do not eat chicken, that person is a vegetarian. So I hope this is how we can solve questions by considering what we have studied in all the classes of Indian logic, in which over there also we have discussed good questions or expected questions from the topic on this particular topic. Now second is that what are the three conditions to be necessary as per Nyaya for a knowledge to be valid. Valid knowledge क्या होती है? Which give us the right apprehension of an object. ठीक है, that is what valid knowledge is all about. तो valid knowledge को present करने के लिए कौन सी three conditions होती हैं जो necessary होती है? So if we consider the options over here, the first is A असंदिग्ध यथार्थ अनुभव, और B प्रमा करणम प्रमाणम, C is आप्त उपदेश शब्द, and D is none of the above. So if we consider the following options, we say that option A is right. Why? Because asamdigd is the terminology which talks about that knowledge should be free from doubt, it should be unambiguous, it should be clear, there should be no confusion. That is what a valid knowledge is all about. Then आपका जो यथार्थ है, यथार्थ is something where we are seeking and understanding fundamental truth. ठीक है, that also results in the creation and फाउंडेशन ऑफ अ वैलिड नॉलेज. एंड अनुभव आपका, जैसे हिंदी का वर्ड है, आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा है किसी भी चीज को लेकर. सो दैट पॉइंट्स अबाउट दैट डायरेक्ट रियलाइजेशन ऑफ ट्रूथ एंड रियलिटी. सो दिस इज द राइट ऑप्शन of a valid knowledge conditions, that is A over here. And when we consider the other other two options, leftover option, which is B and C, B is something which we have never heard about, so we do not consider this option. And C, that is apta updesh shabda, this is the statement given in the fourth type of praman, which is shabda, ठीक है, and verbal testimony, which says that statement, authoritative statement given by a trustworthy person who is considered an experienced or veteran in his or her field. So that talks about shabda praman, not about a valid knowledge. So the correct option is answer A. So बहुत बारी देखा गया है कि मेजरली मैच द फॉलोइंग्स या ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए हैं जो स्टेटमेंट बेस्ड होते हैं या कोई केस बेस्ड स्टडीज होती हैं, जिसमें एग्जांपल्स के बेसिस पे यू हैव टू ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट कि व्हाट वुड बी द करेक्ट ऑप्शन फ्रॉम द गिवन बिलो ऑप्शंस. सो थर्ड इज द मैच द फॉलोइंग, लिस्ट 1 एंड लिस्ट 2. ठीक है, प्रत्यक्ष, प्रत्यक्ष इज व्हाट, प्रत्यक्ष आपका क्या आता है, आपका परसेप्शन क्या है किसी चीज को लेकर. परसेप्शन होता है आपका किसी चीज को लेकर क्या व्यू है, दैट इज समथिंग एन एट्रीब्यूट ऑफ सेल्फ. ठीक है, देन आपका आता है बी अनुमान. अनुमान आपका आ रहा है इन्फ्रेंस के अंदर. ठीक है, अनुमान किसी चीज के बारे में आप इन्फ्रेंस लगा रहे, इन्फर कर रहे हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द प्रेजेंट कंडीशंस. एंड उपमान इज समथिंग विच टॉक्स अबाउट द कंपैरिजन, दैट इज सी का आपका C का 2, C is उपमान is comparison and shabda is the verbal testimony. So the correct option of this question is answer is C. ठीक है, प्रत्यक्ष is talking about perception and shabda verbal testimony. ठीक है, okay. Now the next question is given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and other is labeled as reason. So assertion is a statement, जो एक statement हमें given है और उसके basis पे जो reason वो quote कर रहे हैं that is correct or not. इन questions के अंदर हमें we have to try to understand कि assertion में जो given है और जो reason में given है there is some link over it or not, and then we can solve it accordingly. So when we talk about assertion A, so it talks say that the Nayakas did not separate treatment of inductive methods as the Western logicians have done, which is correct. Why? Because as per Nayakas, they say that the induction and deduction are inseparably related. Both are always involved. They cannot be separated from each other. That is why it is considered a complex process. So this assertion A is correct. But the reason which the question, the reason given in the question says that according to Nyaya school, universal propositions, that is, what is universal propositions? जो एक universal एक आपका statement होती है, that is applicable to all the other scenarios, that from where we try to draw some specific or particular conclusions. So according to Nyaya school, universal propositions are obtained from perception itself by one of the forms of extraordinary perceptions. This statement reason says that yes, there is one of the perception जो कि universals की बात करता है, and that comes under extraordinary perception. It is also known as Jana Lakshana. So what we can say कि दोनों statements तो ठीक हैं, but yes, R is not the correct explanation of A. Although the statements given over here, they stand right in their own regard. So therefore the correct option is B over here. Next is that which of the following pramans are accepted by Nyaya school. जो हमने देखा था कि where we have studied the Nyaya school accept only 4 means of valid knowledge which are perception, inference, comparison and verbal testimony. और इनका हिंदी वर्जन जो हमेशा आता है एग्जाम में that is प्रत्यक्ष, ठीक है, अनुमान, then upman and shabda respectively of all the terminologies I have spoken in English before that. So yes, so pratyaksha is right, anuman is there, upman is there, shabda is there. Arthapati is not the praman accepted by Nyaya school. That is a praman which is accepted by other school of orthodox, that is also known as Purvimamsa, which we would be covering in our coming classes. उससे भी related हम PYQs solve करेंगे, and for that you have to don't forget to subscribe the Human Peritus channel for the upcoming videos on PYQs of Indian logic. So the correct option is answer C, that is A, B, C and D only. Next is match list 1 with list 2. List 1 talks about the various concepts given over here, that is Vyapti. Vyapti is what? Vyapti is a universal concomitance or universal relation between middle and major term of inference. So therefore A is talking about the fourth one. Anuman is what? Anuman is something, the knowledge of an object due to previous knowledge of some sign or mark, where we try to infer from something which is already having an existence in our mind. We try to draw an inference, we try to draw an anuman in Hindi. So B is 3 over here. And pratyaksha is something which is immediate, something direct cognition, reality due to some kind of sense object contact, which we would be solving PYQs on the perception part of Indian School of Indian Logic. So that would be covered in the coming videos also. And so therefore C is 1. And Upman is what? A source of knowledge on the basis of likeliness or analogy, where we try to see an analogy, a similarity or resemblance is considered over here. So D ka 2. So the correct option is D over here. Next is, which of the following pramans are accepted as valid by Nayikas? Valid means of knowledge, valid means of praman को क्या बोलते हैं? Knowledge. ठीक है. So that is also the same type of question which we have done earlier, that is perception. Inference is correct. Presumption is what? Arthapati, that is not the praman valid accepted by the Nyaya school of logic. Verbal testimony. And E is comparison, known as Upman. So देख रहे हैं आप, कई बारी क्या देखा गया है कि हिंदी की टर्मिनोलॉजीज में द एग्जामिनर इज आस्किंग द क्वेश्चन, एंड सिमिलरली इंग्लिश का भी उसमें आ रहा है. सो वी नीड टू हैव एन अवेयरनेस ऑफ बोथ द टर्मिनोलॉजीज यूज इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश, बिकॉज मीनिंग सेम है एंड क्वेश्चन का पैटर्न भी सेम है. सो देयरफॉर दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव टोल्ड यू कि वी हैव टू एबल टू go through with all the terminologies before attempting questions on this topic. So answer is C over here. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, Indian logic makes a distinction between deduction and induction, which is not right. Why? Because as per Indian logic, deduction and induction are inseparably related. They cannot be separate from each other. Because it's a complex process. We have to consider deduction and induction, which I have already discussed, what is deduction and what is induction. And statement 2 is that Indian logic studies thought as such and not the form of thought alone. So what does this statement say? This statement say that Indian logic studies to explore the nature of thought itself, and it tries to looking beyond the forms. ठीक है, forms की बात नहीं करता, सिर्फ thought की बात करता है जो हमारे mind में आती है. which we do not need to take that particular into reality, and it is looking beyond just the form of thought to understand the process of reasoning या किसी चीज के बारे में reasoning करने का हमें अपने thought process में करना, we don't have to go towards the various forms to understand that logic or the process of reasoning. That is covered under the Nyaya school of logic because it talks about logic and epistemology. So therefore, when we say statement 2, that is correct, that it only studies thought as such and not the form of thought alone. So we say the correct option is D, that statement 1 is false but statement 2 is true. So हम देख रहे हैं that the type of or the question that are coming, that are being asked in the UGC NET is something which is having a direct implication of what all we have studied in our classes of Indian logic. There is not something कि अगर हमने उसमें कवर अप नहीं करा, बट येस हम देख रहे हैं कि डायरेक्ट रिलेशन है विद द कंटेंट एंड द टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट आर कवरिंग इन द यूजीसी नेट. देन आ रहा है गिवन बिलो आर टू स्टेटमेंट. स्टेटमेंट 1, क्लासिकल इंडियन लॉजिशियंस ऑल्सो नोन एज नायिकास, दे रिकमेंड द यूज ऑफ नेगेटिव मॉडल और काउंटर फैक्चुअल कंडीशन तर्का टू फोर्टिफाई or confirm the major premise which is true. Why? Because जो तर्का होता है that is what known as hypothetical reasoning, where we try to assume something, where we try to posit something as a condition, and on the basis of that conditions we try to assume that something will happen, and that is being used in syllogisms to confirm or to fortify that major premise. That is correct. And statement 2 is that Nyaya accept tarka as a valid independent source of knowledge, which is not right, because tarka is not valid source of knowledge, but it is considered as invalid means of knowledge. So in the light of above statement, choose the correct answer from the options given below. So what is the correct is that statement 1 is true but statement 2 is false. So the correct answer is C over here. So let's move on to the next question. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, according to Nyaya philosophy, an argument is something that does not proceed on the issues that are well established. Okay? And statement 2 says that according to Nyaya philosophy, an argument can proceed only on those issues that are completely and absolutely unknown. So when we talk about statement 1 is correct because जो ऐसे इश्यूज जो ऑलरेडी वेल एस्टैब्लिश्ड हैं, जिसमें ऑलरेडी बहुत सारी चीज़ें यू कैन से नोन हैं या very well they have been formulated and there is no scope of anything that can be added on, so we cannot never have an argument over that particular issue. So that is why the statement 1 is right. But statement 2 says that न्याय philosophy का क्या मानना है कि argument सिर्फ उसी issues पे होएगा जो completely या absolutely unknown है, which is not right, because we can also have an argument on partially known things. There should not be a condition कि जिस topic पे कभी भी हमें किसके बारे में कुछ पता नहीं है तो ही हम argument कर सकते हैं. Partial knowledge can also play a role in the formation of an argument. So the correct option is that C, that statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is incorrect. ये क्वेश्चन में देखा गया कि इसमें स्टेटमेंट्स जो हैं ऊपर नीचे हो जाती हैं एंड द ऑप्शंस गॉट चेंज, बट स्टेटमेंट से हमें हर बारी यही सेम फॉर्मेट में यही सेम वर्ड्स के साथ आती है. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, according to न्याय universals. What are universals? अगर हम universals की बात करते हैं, universals are something which is a class of mind independent identities होती हैं. Universal principles होते हैं, जो भी individuals उसके अंदर आते हैं वो उस principles के you can say traits को follow करते हैं. तो universal is something, any concept which is universal, it is something which is applicable universally, वो eternal माना जाता है. So universals are eternal entities which are distinct from but इंडिविजुअल से डिस्टिंक्ट होती है, जो कि हम कह सकते हैं इंडिविजुअल को हम पर्टिकुलर भी बोल सकते हैं. यस, यूनिवर्सल्स आर ऑलवेज डिफरेंट, they are always differing from individuals or particular, but yes, the traits of universals are inherent in many individual. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल से हम इस स्टेटमेंट को समझेंगे. जैसे कि रैशनलिज्म की बात करते हैं. रैशनलिज्म टॉक्स अबाउट द रूल्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिविज्म, दैट इज समथिंग अ यूनिवर्सल प्रिंसिपल्स. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट अ रैशनलिज्म टॉक्स अबाउट. बट अगर हम बात करते हैं एक इंडिविजुअल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से या एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, तो रैशनलिज्म का अगर हम ऑपोजिट देखते हैं, ठीक है, ऑपोजिट हो जाएगा rationalism का empirism, that talks about standards and subjective. So yes, universal principles are applicable to individuals, ठीक है, but they are different from individuals. Why? Because एक तरफ है आपका एक रियलिज्म वाला कंसेप्ट जो बात करता है आपके नेचुरल लॉज क्या हैं किसी भी कंट्री के अंदर. दूसरी तरफ आ जाता है आपका इंडिविजुअल या पर्टिकुलर प्रिंसिपल दैट टॉक्स अबाउट नॉमिनलिज्म, जो एक इंडिविजुअल के राइट्स होते हैं. सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन यूनिवर्सल and individual person or particular, we can say. So that so with this we can say that statement 1 is right, but when we talk about statement 2, that the universal is the basis of the notion of sameness that we have with regard to all individuals of a certain class. So if we say that these sort of these group of people, they are following rationalism, so they would be having certain traits or there would be certain notion of sameness that would be seen in each and every individual which is following that particular universal. So therefore we can say option A, that both the statements are correct and they are pointing about towards the right application of principles of universals on individuals. And yes, individuals tend to follow that traits to the type of universal idea or ideology they belong to. Next is, given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and the other is labeled as reason. Assertion A, for Nayaka's logic is not formalized and divorced from existence. ठीक है, logic formalized नहीं है and it is divorced from existence. And B says that Nayaka's interest in logic is finding out truth about the existing world, but not merely for finding out instrument of thought for their own sake. So ये एक जो one of the inference के ऊपर जो Indian logic का view है ना, that they always talks about thoughts only but not the forms of thought alone, वो इसकी बात कर रहा है. because जो न्याय school of Indian logic है, it says that it is it is majorly focusing on creating the relationships and understanding of real entities, and it never focuses on the existence of word or the essence, or we can say the arrangement of word. because जो इसका essence है न्याय school of Indian logic का, it is on कि we try to understand, we try to draw relationships among the real entities, and we are able to acquire genuine knowledge. So the prime focus is on the real connections among objects, transcending beyond the verbal form which is used to convey the inference or the valid means of knowledge. So the correct answer is that both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. Why? because दोनों ही जो inference का Indian logic का view है, that it is not talking about the arrangement and the formal arrangement and the verbal arrangement of the words, क्योंकि उसका major focus क्या है, उसके beyond है कि हम real meaning find out करें, real relationship के बारे में बात करें, and we are able to draw the real connections among the objects. So therefore option A is correct over here. Now 13, given below are two statements. Statement 1, classical Indian logicians regard deduction and induction as two separate logical process. No. Why? because they are always inseparably related. They are never treated as separate, they are treated as only one, because they are inseparably related. Statement 2 is, according to classical Indian logician, verbal form is not essential to inference. Yes, because it is major, जो मैं अभी आपको point बताया था कि it is beyond the mere arrangements of word. Why? because focus क्या है कि लॉजिकल स्ट्रक्चर जो है या फॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर है या हाउ वर्ड्स आर बीइंग अरेंज के बियॉन्ड है, नॉट विद व्हाट वी आर सेइंग, बिकॉज एरिस्टोटेलियन सिलोजिज्म्स में दे वर मेजरली फोकसिंग ऑन द फॉर्मल एंड द verbal arrangements of word, but Nyaya school is far beyond that. So therefore statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct, so incorrect option is D over here. Next is given below are two statements. Statement 1, according to classical Indian school of logic, proof of a statement is given with the help of syllogisms. So proof of a statement क्या है कि क्या हमें statement what type of statement we are proving, ठीक है, उसके basis पे हम एक example देंगे, then we will be having that statement which is where we try to have a universal relationship between middle and major terms which we have discussed in friends topic of Nyaya school. So proof of a statement हमेशा syllogisms के behave पे हमें मिल पाता है. And then statement 2 is according to classical Indian school of logic, the thesis has to be mentioned thrice as hypothesis, second as an example, and third as a conclusion. This is what we have never heard about. So this is something which is not true. So the correct answer is C. Statement 1 true है but 2 is false because we have never heard कि ऐसे हमें hypothesis देना है thrice time, which these types of things we have never heard in Indian school of logic. Then 15th is given below are two statement. Statement 1, according to Nyaya philosophy, an argument proceeds. See, this what is the same repetition which we have done earlier, but the statements have been interchanged over here. An argument proceeds only on those issues that are completely unknown. Not like that, because we can have an argument on partially known things also. It's not like that we need to always have a unknown issue to provide or to create an argument for that. So this is not right, and according to Nyaya philosophy, an argument does not proceed on those issues that are well established. ठीक है, that is true, because जो well established है उस पे there is no scope of giving an argument or any upgradation of what we are already having knowledge of. So answer is that statement 1 is incorrect, but yes, statement 2 is correct. Now 16th question, what were the people believing in Vedas called as? They are the people who believe in Vedas are those who directly or indirectly accept the authorities of Vedas, and that were all covering under the orthodox school, also known as Astika. ठीक है, and heterodox is the Nastika. They are those people who never believe in the authorities of Vedas. So, and Jainism and Charvaka, they both are belonging to the heterodox school. So they are not correct. So the correct answer is B over here. Which of the following school of classical Indian philosophy reduce Shabd Praman, that is the verbal authority, to inference? So inference में reduce का मतलब ये है that it is not considering the Shabd Praman as a valid or independent means of knowledge, and this school of thought is given by Vaishika, because as per Vaishika, that is an allied school of thought as when we compare with the Nyaya, and it is based upon the similar philosophy of Nyaya, because Nyaya बताता है कि कोई भी चीज एग्जिस्ट कर रही है तो उसके पीछे रियलिटी फाइंड आउट करना, दैट इज द एक्सपोजिशन ऑफ रियलिटी बियॉन्ड राइट नॉलेज. और वैशिका क्या बताता है कि राइट नॉलेज की, से फॉर एग्जांपल कि टाइम का है या स्पेस का है, व्हाट वी आर सीइंग ऑल अराउंड अस, वी आर जस्ट seeing that, we are just following that, we are not going beyond what is the reason beyond what how the time is evolved, how why the time is moving, or what are the laws, or what is black box in space. We are not going beyond that, we are just accepting of what we are seeing, that what really exists. So that is Vaishika school of thought. तो वैशिका ने बोला था कि सिर्फ टू ही प्रमाण है, टू ही वैलिड मीन्स ऑफ नॉलेज हैं. द फर्स्ट वन इज द परसेप्शन, and second is inference. And according to that school of thought, जो other two थे, that is comparison and shabda, they are all covered under inference. So therefore the correct option is B, that is the Vaishika school of thought, which says that it is has been reduced, a shabda praman, verbal authority has been reduced to inference. Which of the following pramans are accepted by Vaishika philosophy? So I have already told you pratyaksha, that is perception, is right. Anuman, also known as inference. Shabda is not there, Upman is not there, Arthapati is not there, Anuplabdhi is not there, because Shabda Upman जो है, that is being accepted by Nyaya school of thought and other school of thought, that is पूर्व मीमांसा. और जो लास्ट की अर्थपति अनुपलब्धि हैं, जिसपे बहुत सारे हम क्वेश्चंस करने वाले हैं, that would be covering under the topic of पूर्व मीमांसा, that is covered under the another school of thought. Arthapati and Anuplabdhi have been considered as a praman in the Purva Mimamsa school of thought. So the correct answer is A and B only. So with this we come to an end to the PYQs on the introductory topic of Nyaya school of Indian logic, and in the next class I would be covering with other topics on perception, Upman, Shabda, Purva Mimamsa. So request everyone to keep on subscribing Human Peritus channel, and if you want to prepare for clearing UGC NET JRF exam, you have to take a trial class from Human Peritus. You have to enroll yourself for Human Peritus, and we are looking forward for that. Thank you.